Okay, let's get right into it. There is so much noise out there when it comes to U.S. foreign policy, right? Especially all this talk about potential military interventions. So how do you figure out what's just talk and what's real? Today, we're going to try and cut through that confusion and separate the political chatter from actual confirmed U.S. military action.
It all kicks off with words just like these. This quote, specifically about Venezuela, is what really poured gasoline on the fire. Boots on the ground. That's a phrase that gets everyone's attention. It's powerful, it's serious, and it immediately makes you wonder, what's really about to happen?
So to understand where all the speculation is coming from, we have to ground ourselves in the one event that's being reported as a confirmed action. And that brings us to Venezuela. This is the case that started it all, and it's the anchor for this entire conversation.
So, according to the reports, this wasn't just vague talk. A major military operation was actually carried out. We're talking military strikes and, unbelievably, the capture of President Nicolas Maduro. The stated charges were for things like drug trafficking. And all of this was happening while former President Trump was publicly saying the U.S. would, quote, run Venezuela. This is the concrete event that made everyone else sit up and pay attention.
And, an action like that has huge consequences and absolutely ramped up tensions across the entire region. But it also kicked off these really serious legal battles right in Washington, D.C. about, what are the limits of a president's power to go to war? This is the crucial backdrop for everything that followed.
So you have this one major, confirmed event in Venezuela. And from there, it's like a ripple effect. The whispers start. The speculation begins to spread, moving from that one specific case to a whole world of other possibilities. Which leads us to the big question, right? Who else is getting pulled into this conversation? And maybe more importantly, who exactly is doing all the talking? The list might actually surprise you. In this table, wow, it really lays out the whole landscape for us. Just look at the range here. You've got Cuba and Nicaragua, with the talk coming from Republican lawmakers and officials. Then there's Colombia and Mexico, mentioned by Trump himself in the context of things like cartels and immigration. And then it gets even broader. You've got Greenland, tied to strategic interests, and of course Iran, which has been a point of tension for a long, long time. But look at that source column. That's the key. It's a mix of the former president, other officials, and media analysis, not an official declaration of war.
And this right here, this brings us to the most important part of this whole explainer. We absolutely have to draw a big, bright line in the sand between political talk and formal, actual government policy. They are not the same thing, not even close.
Let's just break it down nice and simple. Over here on the left, you have rhetoric. This is the world of public speeches, media reports, off-the-cuff remarks, all of it. It can hint at what someone wants to do, but it is not a formal commitment. Then on the right, you have formal policy. This is the real deal. It's official. It's actionable. It requires things like formal declarations and, for something this big, authorization from Congress. Now, all this talk we've been looking at about Cuba, Mexico, Iran, that all falls squarely on the left side of this slide. It's rhetoric.
Okay, so with that critical distinction in mind, let's nail down the official bottom line. What do we know for a fact is not confirmed?
Let's be crystal clear on this. Despite all the names being thrown around in the news and in speeches, there is no official government-stamped hit list of countries the U.S. is planning to attack. As a formal document, it just doesn't exist. And here's the legal backstop. For any new major military operation to get off the ground, it needs a green light from Congress. That has not happened. Without that authorization, all of this talk, well, it remains just that, talk.
All right, so let's tie this all together. What do you really need to take away from this? First, a major U.S. military operation did happen in Venezuela, and that's the event that kicked all this off. Second, all that public chatter and speculation now surrounds at least 6 other countries. But third, and this is the big one, you have to distinguish that rhetoric from formal authorized U.S. policy. Because as of right now, none of those other countries are confirmed as official military targets.
So, this all leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? One that goes way beyond this specific topic. In our world of 24/7 news cycles and instant information, how do we, you and me, get better at weighing a leader's public words against their government's actual documented actions? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining.